Alright, so Ankama recently put out a survey asking the player base about 3 things: raising the max character level from 200 to 215, enchantments, and what they're calling wild PvP, but sounds like the old open world PvP. I have some thoughts about this, so let's go through the survey and see what they're asking of us. We are looking at increasing the level cap at Wakfu to 215, new dungeons and equips, and a new passive at 215. How interested are you in that idea? I am 100% actively against this proposal. In the English-speaking community at least, there's this very toxic attitude that the relevant content is at endgame, and only endgame. Ankama has gone through great lengths to making the lower level content appealing to players, adding in low-level PvP as battlefields, including the epic relic runes or sublimations at the end of the month to the players that do competitive low-level content, and more. The addition of adding another bracket of levels, the 201 to 215 bracket, adds nothing to the game but telling everyone that the 200 bracket isn't important anymore. It's the 215 bracket that's the most important. By all means, make leveling easier to make all of the content in the game more accessible to players. There are so many equipment sets, unique items, and builds that only work in certain levels that never see use because the majority of the player base only cares about the level bracket they're actively trying to outlevel, or the 200 bracket because only endgame matters. By all means, add more dungeons, just add them in the 13 existing level brackets, and don't be afraid to add extremely difficult content in the lower levels. We saw a lot of success with the Mineral Tower rewarding level 65 players if they performed well. Just make something like that again, but not limited to once a day. On that note, instead of having a 14th bracket where we have to get another equipment page, character points page, and spell page for our new sets and builds, how about giving all players the full amount of pages possible, and the players who already bought pages, Ogren's back as compensation to giving former paid stuff free. That's enough about that. Next topic, enchantment. Just appreciate this message. We often receive criticism related to the enchantments on the forums. We'd like to sharpen our focus on the problems some of you are having. That's a nice way of saying, we received criticism, now we're throwing all of that away. Now tell us what you really want. I'm just going to put this out there, that this upgrade system is a lot better, easier to understand, and easier on the inventory than any other system previously. The only problem is that this system has any element of RNG in it. When someone invests on improving an item, they don't want to be told, "Sorry, it didn't work, better luck next time." Likewise, when someone spends something and it works, they are either expressing relief that they didn't get screwed, or are cursing because this is the 5th time and they're glad but bitter that it took this long. It's a very about time kind of feeling. I know, because I've done this and I hate it. To fix enchanting, all that needs to be done is that you can consume equipment to generate points on a piece of gear, instead of rolling for slots or colors. If Ankama wants to increase grind, then fine, make it so that the points to get the 3rd and 4th rune slot are stupid expensive. Make it so you can't put level 200 items into level 50 items. Make it so that changing the color to red, green, or blue is manageable, but you have to be rich out of your ass to afford all whites. Players had a lot of fun trying new things in the beta when you can have perfect colors and numbers. Just let them go crazy. It's more fun and less soul-sucking that way. Improving enchantment can take any form, and what I just suggested is just that, a suggestion. But I think we can all agree that bad RNG is bad. Anyone that knows me knows how I feel about open world PvP. I love it. It's the most fun PvP out of all of them. Wakfu was particularly built on open world PvP, and I think that instead of adding back in and letting it just be a tool for griefers, it should be expanded on. Making gear easier to optimize and giving everyone pages to be able to have multiple level sets would make wild PvP much more enjoyable and fair. Players should be able to be attacked no matter what, but I will concede that there should be at least one sanctuary zone for every level bracket. If people do not want to be attacked or participate in PvP, there should be at least one zone outside of the nations that would allow for players to not be attacked and level in peace. Additionally, adding in a 10-second PvP immunity for teleports, zaps, boats, etc. would be good to prevent zap, phoenix, and boat campers. Lastly, wild PvP should be impactful. To what extent, I'm not sure myself, but it should still send them to their respawn point. Jail should similarly be improved so that it's impossible to escape jail on one zone. I have seen people with negative 100,000 CP and they just break out of jail within a few minutes. I think that forcing people to serve at least 30 minutes of jail time before breaking out is important, or removing the breaking out mechanic entirely and having a team breakout system, where the player in jail needs at least 3 to 5 other players to break them out of jail. This adds value to the jail system and maybe even adds incentives to have jails be a hotspot for PvP for those who want to play the role of guards. PvP gear, that includes battlefield gear, should be activated at all times when in PvP. On the subject of PvP, let's talk Battlefield's PvP. Keep them, just make them easier to access and be able to teleport to with the press of a button. Make it so that you can teleport to the prims with a click of the interface, and have a little bit of PvP immunity, enough so that you can just walk in and participate. Also, add an alert when a PvP battlefield that you can enter opens up, and be able to disable it in the menus. I think that alone would fix Battlefield PvP, especially if people find out just how insane the XP rewards are. To summarize, I think Ankama should not add a level 215 bracket, as it doesn't add value to what already exists. Instead, they should focus on making non-endgame content more appealing for players even when there isn't an ongoing boss smasher event. I think that the enchantment system should not involve any RNG, and that optimizing gear should involve measurable progress. Lastly, wild PvP should come back, but it should also be difficult for griefers to grief, and players who want absolutely nothing to do with PvP a way to progress in the game without it. Ankama shouldn't go around trying to overhaul their systems every time they aren't perfect, but instead tweak what they already have to be more fun and less frustrating for their players. This is a case where Wakfu needs a lot more quality of life than anything else. They should embrace what they currently have rather than starting from square one.